Hello everybody, Happy New Year and welcome back to Rotten Rust Garage. If you saw the last video, I started taking some things apart on the old 440. And I got too close to the rabbit hole, I think, because now I'm about to dive down in it. So I might as well go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we are, and I want to show a couple things if I can, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but if you look back in there, try and get some light on it. Can we see that? I don't know. Water pooled up in there and it rusted on top of that intake valve for the, what is that, the number 7. Interesting. On the number 4, and again, don't know if you'll see it, tons of sparklies in there like metal. I plugged all these up when I was cleaning, but that doesn't mean crap. I guess there's all kinds of little bits of metal. Would those suck through? Probably. Do any more damage? Probably. That valve stem down in the number 8 does look oily. So one of the things I'm thinking is pull these heads off. At a minimum, go ahead and change all the valve stem seals. Clean everything. Super good. You can see this is again number 8. I've got it plugged up, but this one is actually a bit oily. Like that's more tarry. These over here, they're dry, but they're like just pure carbon. This one's kind of oily, but this valve cover did leak massively. As you can see, it's oil everywhere. The heat deflector here, I had to cut it out of the way. It was rotted off and everything. So that'll be a chance to maybe replace that if I can find a set. Otherwise, just delete on it so I don't get snagged on that down the road. Also, I heard that, and I'm dying to find this out, that all of these quote-unquote truck or motorhome 440s were all overboard 30,000s. I don't know if that's true, right? But somebody said that, yeah, the factory blocks that didn't meet certain tolerances were sent off to be truck blocks and bored out 30,000s over. So there is definitely one way to find that out. Pull these heads off and maybe the pistons are stamped 30 over. If not, I can take maybe some snap ring gauges or snap gauges and just measure the diameter. But at a minimum, we need to see what these cylinders look like before I get too carried away. Don't know that these were all bored 30 over. When I rebuilt, I don't know, I think it was a 70, I don't remember, 70 something 440. Many years ago, I had it bored 30 thousandths over. It was not. When I tore it down, it was not bored overboard. So maybe that's a suspect, statement that all of the RV 440s were overboard. Don't know. Also, these are kind of cool. These little marks on the side is something to do with the tolerances, as I've read online, that you can barely see them. It's like a D. Don't see one for this cylinder, and a D there. There's more on the other side. D being equivalent to some measurement, outside of what the standard bore is, I guess. Don't know. Really, if I reuse, if the cylinders are okay and I reuse these pistons just to get this engine running, maybe re-ring them, depending. Again, we'll know a lot more once we get this head off and kind of keep going down the rabbit hole, which I knew I was going to do. Also be nice to get all this trash off this head gasket. It's just blocked in there, a bunch of carbon. That'll eventually work its way down into the valve train. Yeah, this will be a great time to clean all that garbage up. Now, before we get carried too far away here, a couple of quick things. I'm going to remind the audience, I'm not an engine builder, never have been, messed around with them. Most of the stuff that I do is the simple stuff that most everybody can do. Brakes and engine swaps and this, that, and the other, the servicing of an engine. But when it comes down to the finer points of building an engine, I'm not your guy. However, I'm very interested in it and I'd like to learn, and I don't really have anybody to learn from except for some books and some manuals, and I have a friend I could phone if I needed to. but I'm just gonna dive in and kind of see what I can see. So again, warning you, don't follow what I'm doing. Do your own work and figure it out on your own, I guess, because what I'm doing is probably wrong. And when you see me doing things wrong, throw it down in the comments. That way I can learn something, because that's my whole goal here. That's a big part of this hobby for me. I'd like to see this engine live, so I want to do everything I can. Now, let's go back to the last episode, and I pulled the cover off, cleaned everything up, yada yada. I've spent a lot of time since then cleaning the various parts and bits and prepping things, removing the oil seal from the from where the damper goes on. One of the things I didn't even realize in the last video, maybe some of you accurate viewers, what's the right word there? Maybe some of you more attentive viewers realized there was no oil slinger on here, okay? I missed that until I started thinking about it. I was like, hey, wait, there should be an oil slinger on there. So that's one thing I missed. Real easy to miss things. So I'm really going to take my time. This is going to take a little while. So if you're expecting to see this in the car running at the end of this video, just fast forward to the next one. Maybe. Anyhow, I don't know what I'm talking about. Again, though, no oil slinger, lots of slop. I did look in a factory service manual, and the way you actually test the slop according to the factory is you block the crank to where it can't move, and you rotate the cam back and forth with the straight edge up here, and if you have more than 3/16 of movement, it's bad, needs to be replaced. Well, I was told when I got this engine from my brother that this is a low mileage engine, 50-something thousand miles. Who knows, right? It doesn't really matter. But what I can say is this timing chain, double roller timing chain set, it's Chrysler, but it looks to have been replaced because all the research I've done says that all these 70s 440s, like the 72, 345, whatever, all of them had nylon cam gear teeth, nylon coating on the cam gear teeth to quiet it down. And obviously when that stuff gets brittle and falls off, you would expect that to all end up down in the oil pan, plugging up the pickup tube. I saw none of that when I originally dropped all this. So it makes me wonder, did this get changed out at some point, and whoever changed it out left off the oil slinger sitting on somebody's bench in northern Ohio? Who knows? Possibility. But it's kind of like an archaeological dig. So I've got another oil slinger, and I've also ordered one. I stole one off of a small block that I have. Yes, they're the same size from what I understand. And that'll go back on when I put the new timing chain on. But again, cleaning all these other bits and parts, I came across a couple things that some of you may be interested in, others may not. One thing I did notice with this factory intake manifold, I don't think it's ever been off of there, but if you take a close look, you can see where there was sealant put on the bottom, and it almost looks like they just brushed it across there. Pretty wild. You can still see the marks, right? Some of it got pulled off and left on the head. Same thing on this side. There are faint marks of where they had brushed on some kind of sealant. There you can really see it good there. And a lot of that came off with the intake manifold. These can be cleaned up and reused. I'm not going to reuse this one. Obviously, it's ancient. But just I thought that was interesting because I've seen different things where people say no sealant. Some people say sealant on the bottom. But one thing I will say is there was no gasket on either side. In a lot of kits, they come with a gasket. And the one that I bought, the replacement, doesn't have this provision for the heat crossover because I'm going to use an electric choke. So that being said, I started looking, and I tell you, I just really think these heads need to come off at a minimum. May have to go deeper than that, because if you go way back when I first busted open this engine, it gave me a lot of concern. I was just going to quickly get some new stuff on it and throw it in the car. Well, when I look down in the cylinders, they look terrible. Really afraid what I'm going to find when I pull these heads off, but I really need to peel back that layer of the onion. And I told you, if you saw in those previous videos, in the last one, I said this thing ran pig rich, okay? Carboned up everywhere. Exhaust, intake, you name it. And that's probably ran rich with the carburetor, or had maybe a poor ignition system. The plugs, when I initially pulled them out after I first got it, they were not oily. They were not wet or anything. They were just really, really heavily carboned up. So it wasn't running well, but my brother that I got this from, he's the one that got me this engine. It was pulled out of a parked motorhome, had air in the tires and everything, supposedly ran when parked. But it might have been running, but very, very poorly. A lot of slop in the timing chain, although it's relatively new. I don't know, I just feel like I really need to see what's down in here. So that's what I'm going to do on this video. I'm going to pull all of this apart, take a closer look, and that will determine inside of those cylinder walls. I saw a lot of scoring. I know there's a little bit of rust, and there is a ton of carbon buildup. So we'll look at all that together, and that'll help me know whether or not this thing needs the bottom end comes off, cam, everything comes out, and it needs to go to a machine shop to be bored out. If it doesn't, by miraculously, maybe I can just get away. I think I want to try, I don't own one, but I think I'll buy a hone and try, what do you call it, the dingle ball hone method. Inspect all the bearings, etc. Reuse this cam. I try to get off as cheaply as possible, but have something that still does okay, I guess. I don't know. So, a long journey ahead of me with this, and I've got to take my time because I will miss things. And if I get in a hurry, I will definitely miss things. I'm going to try and make sure everything's really, really clean, and we'll go from there. So, hope you enjoy this, and we'll get as far as we can in the next 3 or 4 hours that I have. Well, I want to start with this head, I think. Driver's side. But I forgot that I still got to get this rusty stud out of here. This thing is trashed. And it's going to break off in there. So I'm going to grind off right here a little bit. Get some clean metal. Weld this nut on there that doesn't fit. Heat the heck out of this thing. And then snap it off in there. So I want to do a bunch of work before I do a bunch of work. Let's do it. Maybe I should turn the gas on. Simplest dang things, man. That one snapped right off. And that was the only one that even came close to fitting this. This one, coarse thread. This is fine thread. Might just go ahead and cram it on here and re-weld again. See if this time I can get it. Don't know. See if I can get that to cut down on there. Probably not. Nah. Just trying to go on to fine thread. It's not the right nut. I don't have one that size. Cross thread the hell out of it. The other one snapped off immediately. There it goes, a little bit. Plus I didn't have a very good weld on there, so let's try this in with a welder. This time I've got the gas on. Maybe that'll help me some, but I doubt it because, well, I'm not a very good welder either. Kind of a bubblegum kind of guy. Let's see how this does. All right. The welding gas actually helps a little bit. Isn't that crazy with a MIG? Nope. Nope, just broke the weld. Son of a biscuit. Ah, it's breaking the nut off of there again. Dang it. That does not want to come out of there, folks. Oh, there goes the nut. Dang on it. No good. See if I can find one more nut that size. Pretty soon I'll be out of nuts. Nope, just twisting the daggone nut again. Dang! I think about 25, 30 minutes later, I've about got it. I've taken off layer after layer of the tip of that thing. And what I did this time is I actually cooled the weld instead of heating everything up. I've cooled all this down, let the weld bite in, and I've hammered on it, and I think it might be coming. I don't think it's the nut spinning on there. I hope it's getting tight though. I don't want to snap it at the last second. Oh, I don't know if this is going or not, to be honest. I might just be spinning that welded nut again. Anyhow, it's about to come, the head's about to come off anyway, regardless. I think it's coming out. Maybe? Yeah, she's coming out. Yay. What a daggone. Well, I guess it beats drilling it out, using an easy out and stuff, but wow, that thing's in there. Yay! Shouldn't be hot, says the guy burning his hand. And there you go. Just all that at the edge where the thread's pitch changes from the fine thread to the coarse thread, all that bubble right there that stops it from going in was rusted to the head. I'm gonna chase all these threads anyway later, so golly, that was painful. Now I take a head off. There you have it. Each one took a little bit more with it until I got down to, you know, on this one though, I did, these were all done on, my welder was setting 4. This one was done on 5, and I slowed the wire down and again also quenched it. I don't know if that did it or not. Could have just been all the heat cycling, or finally I chipped away enough of this rust that penetrant got down in there. Don't know, but it's finally out of there. All right, with that out of the way, now I'm going to go ahead and start removing these rockers. And I have to get out a breaker bar. These are only, I think these go to 35 foot-pounds. Just going to loosen each one a little bit, working out to in, because that's kind of the way you're supposed to tighten them down on there. And they're broke free now. Just going to slowly release the pressure. I can tell that one is definitely under more pressure. Yeah, that one's probably on a compression stroke or something, I don't know. One of the valves was open. All right, one step closer. I marked these. Small block has a notch on the tubes to tell you their orientation. I don't know if it matters for this, but I marked this one in this tube cap, marked this one L. The other one's gonna get marked R, or is marked R, so I can keep them straight. And I marked them only at the front, so I know that goes to the front. What does matter is these keepers and these bolts. They're different. The bolts may all be the same height. Let's find out. I don't know. But I know I got to keep small, long, small, long, small keepers in order. All right. There we go. Yeah, the two end bolts and the center bolt are shorter, and the middle ones between each end are longer. All right, just gonna set this down out of the way in a clean spot. Should have thought of that first. Let's go over here to the bench. Now we're ready to get the head unbolted after I get these push rods out of here. These, I don't think it matters what position they go in. However, I'm going to keep them in their original position, at least for now. Check, see if anything's bent or otherwise that may need indicate something else going on. Struggle is real today, folks. It's all because of that bolt. That's out of there. Ooh. Piece of trash. Came off of that one. Alright, set this out of the way. Don't know if I'll be able to break these free, but I'm going to start from the outside in. Just start loosening one by one. That ain't going to work. Huh. The head of the impact won't fit on there, so going back to what did I just do with it? Just to a standard chrome socket. Just gonna work my way around. I don't know if this is right or not, but that's what I'm gonna do. So it's going to be cool to see if we did have any kind of blown head gasket or anything like that. There is a lot of trash that I couldn't see with the rocker assembly in. Debris and kind of turned into grease because it stuck to oil. So let me zip the rest of these out and then we'll lift it off of here. I'm assuming it's on some kind of pin. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Oh. Well, let's set this down for a minute. Let's clean up our hands. And y'all are seeing it first. So let's pause here and get the camera in closer and see what we got. Okay folks, I'm using the GoPro 9 right now, so it's probably going to just automatically shut off in the middle. So first couple things I realized, look, there's 2 notches, and I don't know if the light helps or not, but 2 notches at the front of each of these. They're so carboned up, I can't really see any kind of markings on them. This one is not carboned up in the middle, and I do not see any kind of 30 over stamped. Of course, I don't necessarily think, I can't say for sure that that doesn't mean that they're not 30 over, but you can see, hey, there's a little bit of debris in there. Yeah, but then let's take a look at the head gasket. Appears to have been head gasketing. Best I can tell. If anybody sees anything I'm not seeing that jumps out at them, please put it in the comments. We'll have to look under the head gasket here. All right. Yeah, the cylinder walls, there is cross hatching on them. Sorry, my camera, I'm not watching the camera, I'm watching the engine. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see cross hatching. And man, when I bore scoped these things, maybe that camera doesn't tell the whole tale, that little scope, but this one here I can see definitely got rust right through here, and it is scored up. Yep. And man, there is a lot of trash in there, and when I say trash, I mean like grit. That would not have been good. So all right, well, let's go ahead and pull this head gasket off, and it's gonna make a mess everywhere anyway. This is all that stuff that was underneath between the head and the gasket that I knew would just end up coming out. I gotta chase all these threads, so oof, what a mess. Come on. Stuck on this front pin. Come on, baby. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Making me look bad. Come on. Get off of there, silly thing. All right, there's the head gasket. Golly. All right, we're gonna measure the thickness on this head gasket as well. I don't know. You all tell me. It does look a little burny right there, doesn't it? Like maybe they were crossing over. I don't know if it was just heat. Look at the carbon buildup though. But I think we might be okay. Oh yeah, we're gonna clean up this area by the ring ridge real good and see if we can feel anything there. So far so good. I don't know, it might have been rebuilt. Jeez, I'm gonna have to measure these bores. Nutty. What is that? Oh, that's like break-in lube. Big puddle of it right here. It's real sticky. Stinks too. Vacuum out these water jacket ports. Nasty. All right. Now let's look underneath the head. All right. Underneath of the head, still a little dark right here. So this would be the back of the head. Nope, I'm sorry. It's the front. Yep, that makes sense. That's the front. And this oil passage right here had a ton of oil coming out of it. You can see I wiped it off. There's some left over. This one is fed off of this right here, all right, which comes up. That other one, that's the one that was blocked off, so that's why there was oil stuck up in there. I don't know how it gets in there, probably from the top or maybe through the cylinder head. I don't know, just guessing. But anyway, you can see our valves, none of them are burned up, but wow, look at the carbon. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to take this off, get all of this garbage out of here, reseal the valve stem seals. You notice that none of it looks wet, you know, so I think it'll be worth it to clean all this really, really good, and then clean the valves really good, clean the valve seats, put new oil seals on it, and then chunk it back in there. Maybe clean out some of these water passages as well. Cool. All right, man, moving right along. Oh, 452 heads. I have no idea what the 23F means, but until we check, we won't know about these bores. But so far, I remembered seeing all kinds of scoring up and down them. So what I think I'm going to do is bust out the vacuum, clean these out, wipe them down. I'm going to have to roll it around a few times, but I really want to keep all the trash out from above that compression ring. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Maybe some grease or something. We'll see. Okay, hit it with the vacuum and then took a couple of minutes and just wiped on where the ring ridge is. I've got a very plastic scraper that I used just to get some of that carbonization off there. I don't know if this light's helping or not, to be perfectly honest, so I apologize. I'll give you a shot with the light on it, which that's probably blinding, a little bit of light off, and then no light. I don't know if you can see the cross hatching or not, but I certainly can. Also, where the ring ridge is there. I don't know if this is catching it or not. Probably not. How do you light up this stuff? I guess I need better background lighting. But anyhow, it's like you can see the bronziness right here. And if you listen, this is my fingernail going across at the top. No ring ridge. At the bottom, no ring ridge. The side, no ring ridge. This is chamfered along the edge here. That's got a bunch of carbon on it, so that makes some noise. But I'm finding 0 ring ridge. I guess it's possible this is a low mileage engine or it's a reman. I have no idea. The only thing I've found so far in number 7, right here, if you listen, can't catch my finger on it. The tone changes a little bit as my fingernail goes across. A little bit of rusty spot right there. There you go. There's beside it. There's on it. I don't think you can see it very good. Right here. A little discolored spot. I can feel it. It's right where the rings would go by. I haven't rolled it over yet. It's been vacuuming out all the trash that's in there. I think before I start rolling it over and really getting crazy cleaning on it, well, I got something else to do first. So I got to tell you, you guys put a comment down below. I'm happy with this. This is telling me right now a lot of cleaning and bolt it back together with some new head gaskets, and we're gonna run it. That makes me feel really good. But first, I do want to seriously get all this carbon off of these heads and get new valve stem seals on it. That's actually going to be kind of fun. Yeah, let me get the other head off. That's oil. Yeah, shit I put down in there. So much grit. That's what I hate about all this carbon. It's just like sandpaper.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't find that thing with the stupid bore scope. Yeah,
Is the gasket still on that head? Or is this the gasket?
This is the gasket. Yeah, see, we got all this crap right here.
It's sticking out. So.
Yeah, you can. This gasket can be a little bit of a pain in the tail. It's loose on there, but see, it's on these little keepers right here. Sometimes it doesn't want to come off of them. Yeah, this one's coming free pretty easy. There we go. And now with the gasket off, Let's set this down right here by the head.
That is a big block.
Yes. And what you want to look for is like in between where there's clear signs that the gasket didn't seal and combustion was going between. The other side looked identical. I don't know. Maybe. Seems okay though. Yeah. But yeah, those things are the size of Kansas, aren't they? Yeah. I think we're going to be all right. We're going to clean her up real good, slap it back together with some new
seals,
new head gaskets, and clean all this up super good. All right, well, here is the passenger side. That puddle in there is, what do you call it, PB Blaster, when I was initially trying to get like some of the crap off of the walls. But looks largely the same as the driver's side. No ring ridge and carbon everywhere. Lots of carbon, and that's, you know, what we're going to deal with. So we're going to get all this really cleaned up. No burned valves. And also, again, on this side, dark in between here, but it does appear like it's not as, like, see, that looks good and that looks good, but this is darker. But it looks like the gasket sealed, so that's a weak spot, I guess. But you know, the gasket, again, darker in the middle, right? Don't know if this light's doing it or not, but it wasn't blown. Definitely darker there in the middle. Then that's nice and silvery. And it had that copper spray gasket. I could see remnants of that in different places. So, boy, that's interesting right there. Both sides, same thing. I don't think it leaked, but boy, it sure got warm there, didn't it? So, anyway, Killian helped take that one off, so that was kind of cool, right, bud?
Yeah, it was nice learning, seeing how that all came
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, now we're going to measure all this stuff and start cleaning, and it's going to probably get pretty boring as far as content, because I do have well, the next step, really, I got to get these lifters out of here, but I'm not going to do that today, and the reason is I have a little lifter tray that I got on line, and it's, you know, it was like $25 plastic. Keep them all in order, because invariably, like, this thing, it'll help hold them in order better than the egg carton that I'll invariably kick over or drop or whatever. And I am planning to reuse this cam. This engine's in really clean shape, and I don't know if it's a reman, or I don't see any stamp of reman anywhere. So it's super clean inside, minus all the carbon. So I think we get cleaning on it a little bit. I don't think we go any further than cleaning out the lifter valley, coating the cam with some break-in lube, getting all the lifters back in their boards. Just like I said, a thorough cleaning of everything. New head gaskets, new timing chain set. Supercharger, because that's what it's going to need. I read this is like the 75 would be 8.2 compression ratio. Some people were saying 7.2.
Supercharged.
Perfect for some power adders, but yeah, I don't know if the bottom would like that, but maybe. No, all we need is the 220.
Is this one a cast crank?
Yeah, it's a cast crank engine. So there you go. Well, an update. Looking at this passenger side, I got to show you this. This is terrible. Look at the rust in there. I bet you when it was sitting outside or over the years or whatever, after it got pulled, that exhaust valve was open and that whole bottom side is rusty. The top of it's fine. A little bit of pitting, but I think that's going to need some work right there. That is really bad. That's pure rust. And I'll see what'll come off, but I think, to be honest, probably all of them need to be dropped out now, and at least this one needs to be, see if a hone will get that garbage out of there. That's terrible. I don't think the light's helping at all. I don't think there's any way to put this light to help it show how bad that is. Is what it is, so keep on keeping on. All right, cleaning it up. Here's the process that I've been using. You can see they're coming clean. That scarring is pretty much stained into this piston top. But so this is what they kind of look like, and bring it up to the top, like this one, for instance. And I've got a red Scotch-Brite, and I'm squirting it down with WD-40 and just gently giving her the old what for, and they're coming clean. You know, still got to work a little bit around where the edge is here, but that's all coming clean as well. One other thing, what was I going to show you? Oh, so I mentioned before about the, you know, the paint on the side, like D, 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 right? Let's see if we can find one. If you look right there, you can see in the right light, which I can't get because the camera's in the way of the light. I see the letter D. Maybe I'll get a bunch of angles on there. I don't think we saw it on this one yet. I don't think that one, I don't see it on there, but it's probably on there somewhere. See about this one. Yeah, I don't see it on this one either, son.
No.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There's the letter D right there. Again, very, very faint, difficult to see. Let me get a rag.
Show me.
I did not. I can't, it's probably down in the hole. Oh, there we go. And you see that D. I just don't know if you can see that. Oh well. Oh, there's this one. So this is number 7. It's actually got a C on it, and that has to do with the size of the piston. That's marked D, and there was probably a C right there, but it got painted over. This all got painted over. I think that it was probably marked on there when the block was still bare and fresh, and I guess they were measuring them, and they just, like, I don't know, some kind of shoe polish paint or something, I don't know, and they'd mark it on there, and then that's what would get dropped in, a corresponding piston, and I got to find the chart that shows those sizes. Updates. Again, that's WD-40, a big puddle of it. I used my little Happy Howdy Scotch-Brite and a cross-hatched. Gave her the old, you know, I don't know, 50, 60 degree angle. It still looks terrible. I can see straight up and down lines where the ring probably has some crap that got on it, but it's looking way better. It can't catch any fingernails on there. So you know what? We gonna run it. If you don't tell anybody, I won't. I don't see a problem. I think when we get it all back together, we'll do a compression check. And everybody remember, I think this one's gonna come up the low ball. Anyhow, that's the update. Still got a whole lot more cleaner to do. This is kind of round one. Got still do that piston head and this one. The other ones are looking pretty good. And every time I rotate it, I just wipe out the cylinder again and add in some more WD-40. Going through that can quick, but that's okay. It's actually making the stuff stick to the walls really good and not get trapped down in there. So once it comes, the piston comes back up, it kind of leaves it stuck. So I'm cleaning this a million times, but anyway, that's the update. Cool. All right, well, for now that's going to do it unless anything really cool happens. I don't think so. The only thing really cool that's going to be happening is a lot of cleaning and cleaning up my shop. I got to get after it, get some head gaskets ordered, and start putting it back together. I think this might be good. So hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you the next time. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.